Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Hydragons Breath Bow Wow, welcoming you back to another Archon's Adventures, the Heart of Darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our D&D 5e campaign. As per our last session, a very eventful one, the second half of the Convergence, our party had been slain and resurrected, having spent the final few minutes of the session in the presence of the individual who brought them back to life. One person who identified themselves as Nadzybar, having traveled northward from the previous Sorceress Tower, where the mini-collapse that was luckily stopped very quickly after its beginning was started. They have ended up in the town of Northmarch, going to the large church there, the Cathedral of Sancta Marta, to meet with this individual whose corpse is sitting in a glass-lined box on the side of the room. And a psychic projection or some spiritual representation of them is now speaking with the party. So, I would like a quick recap, just because we've had a couple of changes in our characters. How about we get an intro from each of you now, with whatever changes have occurred since the last couple of sessions. Let's start out with Gaz. I believe you've lost some things, Gaz, right?
I did. I unfortunately lost my beloved Leomano, but fortunately I was given the boon of extra large just teeth in my mouth.
Club gone, but very, very big dentist dream. Alright, let us hear it from Norbert, please, Bearman.
So, Norbert's changed a little bit physically. I don't know if he'd call it a boon, certainly. But he's lost what's essentially was his blankie. Very sad, but now he's kind of stuck in shifter form.
He has essentially lost his security blanket. And he is stuck as more bear than man. Considerably more bear than man. Alright, let's hear it from Senju. Senju's had possibly the most trauma that I've given out so far.
So Senju, after being filled with arrows like a pincushion, awoke to find that Pecky is a little bit off. Pecky is kind of not looking too right.
Your pixie has paid for your sins. With her humanity? Fayness? Who knows? Either way, she is considered a hybrid undead and fey, which is a nice thing to play around with, but not all that great to look at. And her house needs some renovations, if I remember correctly.
I was gonna ask, what does her house look like?
Like a folded-in souffle.
Oh.
It was once a Satan's tooth mushroom. It has now molded and fallen in on itself. Okay, bleeding tooth mushroom. It is now folded in on itself and partially rotted. All right, and finally, let's hear it from Roland Lynch.
So not much physically has changed with him. He has gained a new yellow or ochre yellow cloak. But has lost his alabaster elephant necklace.
Yes, wonderfully.
Very sad.
Yes, very sad, but wonderfully saved from the effects of death by not necessarily the cleric in front of him, but from perhaps some other forces in the universe. In any case, I believe you all had some questions for La Sancta Martra last time you were here. Basically, for the rest of the folks, she's introduced herself as Nadzybar. She's informed you that she is one of the original Heroes Party, one of those ones associated with the now long gone and forgotten Northern Kingdom, which in terms of map is up here with the lost capital of north of Sidra's Teeth.
I remember now.
Yep, I remember. And Pepperidge Farm remembers. But in addition to that, she had also mentioned that she may or may not have known quite a bit about what was going on. So any initial questions before I get going? Or before she gets going, I suppose.
I mean, I think Roland would have a question. So, first off, I remember you saying something looking towards me. What do you mean you weren't the one who saved me?
Well, it's a bit less complicated than it seems. I have the ability, I maintain the ability to reach in between the realms and help revive those who have been slain within a very short period of time. Most clerics have the ability to do so, and Well, when you came back, I hadn't gone and found you yet. You got pretty far, and, well, I was on the way there when what I was tracking of you simply disappeared. And your body was there with the others when I came back. I assumed I had run out of time, as unfortunate as that was, but when I found you there, I suppose that means something else got you back up.
Do you have any idea what that something else was?
She shrugs and says, could have been another cleric, could have been anything else. Do you remember anything specific?
A giant yellow moon.
I mean, we're all kind of different now.
That tends to happen when one dies from traumatic events involving massive releases of deadly magic. It's, just consider yourselves lucky that it's not the wasting disease.
Mm-hmm.
Because first-hand experience, that was not fun for years and years. And still isn't. She gestures towards the bed where you can see the, like, semi-disintegrated corpse. So, as far as a yellow moon, I suppose that could mean a whole bunch of things. Were you sure it's a moon and not just a yellow circle like the sun?
Wait, is your body still alive?
It seemed like a moon, but I remember once I got in front of it, it opened like an eye and looked back at me.
Give me an insight check. She looks over towards Senju and says, technically, yes, I am alive, so to speak, but this is the last stage of the wasting disease. The point at which you just keep hitting 0 hit points and keep coming back, or rather, you are continually at the spot between life and death. Your body's essentially repeatedly making death saves over and over again for 24 hours a day.
Uh-huh.
It's miserable. Yeah, it's the point at which people were starting to get, like, buried alive back in the old days, or people were intentionally committing suicide because it was better than living like this.
How much? I mean, I may just use a talisman right now, just for the hell of it.
What was your insight?
Rolled a 12.
That's a 12. It's up to you.
I'll roll a talisman. Let's see.
Alright.
Let's see.
Huh.
That's 16.
She isn't exactly, like, not telling you the truth about not knowing what this moon icon is. It's more like she's maybe saving it for later, like compartmentalizing, like, okay, well, that's information for another time.
Okay.
So clearly that jogs something in her memory, but she's not about to say it right now. Either it's unimportant or it's not for this type of company.
Okay.
Are you able to help my friend, Becky?
She looks around the room and says, your friend? That would be... Like, gestures, like, show me which of you is Pecky. She doesn't know names. She maybe has a couple of references to who people are, but...
Senju looks back and, like, kind of pokes the house with his beak.
Pecky comes out. Again, same thing as last time. One eye is filled with a little mote of bluish fire, rather than an eyeball, and that side of her body is kind of blackened and decayed to the point where you can see bones poking through blackened skin. You watch as the half-orc cleric makes a little hiss sound and looks closer, standing up and walking towards you. You notice again that this is definitely almost like some sort of projection of the body. This definitely doesn't look like a real creature. It looks more like a ghost. But again, much more solid and bright, quote-unquote, than the actual body. She takes a close look at the Fae and kind of pokes at Pecky a bit, which Pecky just kind of stands there for and is like, looks at you and says, bitch, who's this? And Menethia shakes her head. I don't think I can do anything for her. It's not exactly killed her, and it also hasn't exactly left her behind. You understand, with Fae creatures, their souls work a little bit different to ours. I imagine that the spell wasn't really intended to affect creatures like her, and this might be the first time that it's happened. After all, a lot of the Fae was in the Fae when it happened the first time. And I imagine that anyone who wasn't probably ended up running away after that, and likely got better in the Feywild. If you release her in there, there's a chance that she might come back unharmed. At some point.
Kind of look at Pecky like, oh, what do you want to do, Pecky?
Pecky looks between you and Manetia and just shrugs and says, I feel fine. I mean, if you know that there's spots where I can go into the Feywild and come back, but, sometimes it takes hours in there. It might take, 20 years out here. So, I don't want to just leave and then have you waiting here for 20 years and starve to death, Plus, I mean, worst case scenario, it gets a little worse. We go find a Fey portal, you dump me in it, you move on, right? I could probably find you again. Probably.
Sanjay looks down a little dejected, but is prepared to do that if the need arises, but definitely hesitant to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental trade-off of Pecky doesn't want to leave, but at the same time Pecky's it's not negatively affecting me yet too much. Either way, Manetia shakes her head and looks down and says, sorry about that, but, well, Fey creatures, never really my thing. Just, different from people, you understand. What about the rest of you? Anything that he's...
He kind of looks around, he kind of looks at her, cocks his head a little bit and doesn't really understand why she says that they're different from people. Because to Senju, there is just kind of friends.
Yeah, absolutely. She's pretty much going to ignore that. Unless you voice it. She looks
yeah, he's not going to voice it, he's just curious.
She looks around at the rest of you and asks, anything else I need to take a look at or fix before we get down to the meat and potatoes of things?
No problem. Just question. Why after we come back, everything long over? How long were we gone?
Less than a minute. From the opening of the barrier and the beginning of the fight to whenever you all came back, it was less than a minute.
Then what happened to all bad guys? They were all long gone when we came back.
They were, and to tell you the truth, anyone who was alive at that tower was long gone by the time that you reached the top floor.
True, but there were other cultists. There were changemen. There was floating cloak called himself Death.
Yes, we'll get to him, but as for those cultists, I can guarantee you they ran the second you guys got in the door. Or at least they were ordered to, otherwise I would have found them amongst the dead.
Oh, cauldron. What was the cauldron?
Yes, the cauldron, the black cauldron. We'll get to that. If that's what you really want to know about, then have a seat, make yourselves comfortable, and we'll get into the reality of what happened during the first collapse. And also what you just saw, technically. She rolls her eyes a little bit, like she doesn't want to use technical language, but I don't know if you understand the concept of, you are explaining something that you're very experienced in to somebody who's not very experienced. So, if you were a veteran scuba diver and you had to explain scuba diving to a noob.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know that very well.
She's like, I have to scrape out all the actual minutia and the jargon that make it easier to say things because these people don't understand what I'm about to be talking about. So she says, make yourselves comfortable, have a seat, and we'll get right into
Very
it.
Interesting to Senju. This is what he's been looking for, this whole time.
Yeah, a wealth of knowledge. So no more interjections, no more questions? Just checking before I go into my long fucking rant. All right.
I mean, Robert has a question, but he really doesn't think he's going to get an answer that he likes.
You can ask.
Spin it.
All right.
You know what?
Hey, I'm Norbert, but am I just like this now?
She raises an eyebrow and says, well, hello, Norbert, and I would imagine so. You were a shifter, yes? You had beast blood of some kind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably stuck that way, and don't take it to heart, but you may want to get it taken care of more physically. And she makes a, all of you gesture with her hand. It's not too far gone. I'm sure you could get someone to clean that up for you, but again, death and returning from it tends to change people in permanent ways. I wouldn't let it get you down. Some people are just made differently. I would know. She takes a finger and flicks the very tip of one of her tusks.
Mm.
Okay.
You'll find
He
the good
sits
ones.
down.
Yeah, you'll find the good ones who will overlook it, I promise. Speaking of the good ones who will overlook it, to discuss things about the individual who you just saw, who very melodramatically likes to refer to himself as Death, even though that's hardly the case, and possibly one of the other individuals you saw, and of course the event that we're all familiar with as the collapse, we need to go back a little bit further. As I mentioned, I am Menetia Dens. I am referred to as the Sister of the Moon. I am a cleric of Nuessa. I was a cleric of Nuessa, and I was a part of the Heroes Party. Now, if you're not aware, or if you haven't read your history, I know it's been well over half a century, but, you know, some of you are of long-lived races, so I don't know which of you were alive during the collapse or directly after it. She looks over at the elf in the party, like, questioningly.
I'm only half. I'm not that old. 32.
32. Okay, so you were a child during the trade wars. That's fine. You would know
Right.
of the effects and the events. You've probably seen someone with the wasting disease at some point, but I digress. Well, the Heroes Party consisted in total of 6 individuals. Well, mostly 6 individuals. But it didn't start out that way. Originally, it was just myself and the Prince. Now, the Prince and I go back a very, very long way. Anaran Glorian. He was the Prince of the Northern Kingdom. He was the chosen champion of Sidra on Earth, a high elven paladin, and, as I mentioned, a very, very good friend of mine since we were both very, very young. We were both parts of the Northern Kingdom, which again you can see on your modern-day maps, though it is marked as Anaran's Wastes nowadays, and yes, it is named after him, possibly superciliously, but there's a reason why it was chosen for that name. The other individuals in the Heroes Party, that first original Heroes Party, was Goj. Goj, referred to as the Warrior of the Teeth, Kinslayer, Lord of Stones, the Blue Mountain, etc., was one of Anaran's bondsmen. Much like myself, he joined up with the original party when we were traveling through Sidra's Teeth and was a staunch and brave bugbear warrior. He was not a brute. He was a very, very intelligent and delicate young-ish man. She kind of shrugged her shoulders like, whatever, fucking, fur boy be fur boy. And she pulls out a very, very large map for you guys and lays it out on the table, which is now right here. She says, if you look here, and she outlines a large area along the coast north of Sildra's Teeth, this thing that's outlined in yellow for you guys. This was the Old North Kingdom, and the capital here of Hyrios. Hyrios was a very large, very prosperous city, quite expensive, very bougie, all of that good stuff. I didn't live there. I lived over in the west towards Felbay. Anaran and I met on his trips to Felbay, and one of his tutors was one of my close friends. Our first adventure with the two of us, we traveled down south through the mountains in an attempt to try and clear out some villages that were suffering issues and attacks with giants. There is where we met Goj. Goj's tribe of bugbears had been being abused and oppressed by these giants for some period of time, and his rebellion and our assistance in that rebellion resulted in him joining our party more permanently. We continued onward through the Teeth. We were in our, middle teens and late 20s as far as that's considered, and our goal on the first journey was just to clear as much of the mountains of giantish filth and also of dragons as we possibly could. We were relatively successful, mostly because the prince was such an accomplished, paladin in general. It's not every day that you get someone who's the archetype or the chosen champion of a god on this material plane. In fact, it's basically one of the first times in all of Sidra's history that one of the gods had chosen a champion on Earth. So, after this first leg, we ended up coming south. For the first time, we ended up in what is today the Dim Lands, or what back then was just considered part of the Puddles. We picked up another 2 of our party members, and she actually grabs at this point a series of small slate drawings that you can see are actually been done by hand. They're the images that I have on screen for you guys. Just to point out our guys here, we have Anaran here in the center, Menetia, we have Goj, that is Goj, and then she mentions the other 2, Svigerd Stelwyn and Talia Brighteyes were both from this southern town, or this northern town here in the Dimlands. They had suffered attacks from both orcs and dragons, and as a result of our party's success, we were able to take them over the river and northward towards our final goal, which was, well, something that we had been hoping to find. One of the sorceress towers had become a home for a rather important individual, a great sorceress of the age, our soon-to-be party member, Fioria. Now, Fioria is a very accomplished sorceress. She was incredibly talented even at the time, and she lived alone in one of those great sorceress towers, similar to this one. She points herself at the one that they're in, which is where you guys are now, like the top floor of the sorceress tower. And she describes, we continued on to clear out most of the teeth, and Hyrios was going through a practical golden age at the time, with now more and more territory in the mountains, including mines and dwarven settlements coming under the control of the king, Anaran's father. Is this all at some point jiving with your understanding of history? I know it's a little bit far out of most people's reach, but the story of the hero's journey is actually pretty well documented. She looks between the four of you.
Yeah, this tracks.
Does it actually? Hold on. What do you actually know about it in character? Or out of character?
I mean, Senju would probably... Well...
You guys can do a history if you want, because I
character.
don't think you know shit. You guys can do a history if you want.
Well, I mean, I feel like Senju's been studying this, so I mean, I think he would at least know, like, the...
How exactly has Senju been studying this?
The word of mouth about the story.
Okay, from what exactly? I'm just checking.
From what?
Where would you...
Like-
What, you said you've been studying this. How?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question, actually.
Yeah, I don't think you guys... Again, you guys opened the history book, like, once, and you guys have done pretty much zero digging or questioning of the past beyond that.
Yeah.
If the answer is, I've never heard any of this shit, either deception me for you saying I pretty much get that, or say you don't know anything, or roll a history to see if you can try and put something together that you have heard. Again, this is what I said at the very beginning of session. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You need to
And
roll me
For
history.
history.
13? Yeah. You would have heard of the Heroes Party. That's relatively common knowledge, but this is a lot more detail than you ever get. All that you really got of the Heroes Party with a 13 is like, they were a group of OG adventurers. They were around before the collapse. They were operating in the north of the continent in what is today Anaran's Waste. That's about it. Anybody else want to try?
Sure.
Now, by the
We'll
way,
see.
whoever still has the book, now might be time to crack it open.
Yeah.
He doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
No, I
Roland-
don't even have to roll.
Does have the
I already
book.
know
Roland-
guys don't know.
I think I have the book.
Yeah, Roland, history was already a bit of a nightmare when you were growing up, but at the age of like 35, you're still like, I worked on a ship and had a relatively rough life, so
Yeah.
my knowledge of ancient esoteric history, or even of like important history of the continent, is verging on fucking zero.
Yeah, so at this he's just I have no idea. I grew up as a bit of a sailor and worked for a living.
Yeah,
I think I still have. And he kind of shuffles around and like lunges out the big book.
Yep. The dejected look goes from Senju, who looked like they knew something and then realized that they didn't, to Roland, the elf, who also might know something and then doesn't. And then finally it settles, after passing over Gaz with pretty much not a second stop, because Gaz has a life expectancy of like 35. You probably have a shorter life expectancy than that.
Yeah.
It finally settles on Norbert. Norbert, you feel those golden yellow eyes boring into you, hoping that you remember, you know something about the continent's history.
Unfortunately, I know like a smidge, just a smidge more than Gaz here, and very much less than Senju and Roland.
I know, but roll to see if you remember anything
I
miraculously.
mean,
And
I don't even think I want to roll for this dog. Like, I've been
Okay.
out of... I mean, I wasn't raised exactly under education, so...
yes, but you wouldn't necessarily have learned this from education. You did live in the area near where
Holy
Svigert
shit.
and Talia's, basically their
Never
hometown
fucking mind,
was.
I guess. The 22. All right.
Here's what you remember. Again, you are the closest to the area where the original Heroes Party was. And you lived way out in the woods. And you remember one of those names. Your brain, like, clicks and you're like, Talia Bright Eyes. You know who that person is. She's a legitimate folk hero. And folk hero you know of because in that northern area, north of the area in the Dimlands, there's still a town where, living outside of it, you remember you saw a large statue to a rather small halfling individual that had that name on it. You don't remember exactly what it said, but you remember that this statue was up there, and it was related in some way to the OG Heroes Party. You weren't necessarily able to ask anyone what the hell it was, but you could read the description, and it said Talia Bright Eyes. You probably would have gotten a date with it, but you don't remember what that is at the moment. And if you who has the book want to roll history again, or raw intelligence, I will allow it, Roland.
Yeah, I think, I'll roll again. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, raw intelligence or history, it's the same.
Alright, go ahead.
Just another roll, no
Yes.
bonuses.
No bonuses.
All right.
You
know it's less.
you get lost in the writings of Heslint the Monk relatively quickly. And as Norbert is having his Jimmy Neutron brain blast about remembering a random statue far north on the continent, you watch as Manetia puts like her fingers really, really tight to her nose and blows out a short sigh and goes, okay. So, if you don't have any of that information, and she kind of sees you with the book and puts her hand up to you, Roland, and says, you're not going to find anything quickly in there. I didn't speak with Heslint, but I influenced a lot of what he wrote, and I can tell you that most of that is not going to help you with what actually happened. Sorry to break it to you.
No, understandable. He kind of just closes the book and puts it back. I'm sorry to be too disappointed.
It's alright. Individuals who live for, over 100 years can't be expected to just have everyone else know what happened. Clearly disappointed the fact that she has to explain the whole thing, but is willing to do it. Are you guys...
Oh, he's not that old, and he's not that long-lived.
Well, you are a long-lived race in comparison to an orc, but yeah.
Well, yes, but he is only a half-elf. That is important.
Norbert, did you want to say anything before she continues?
Yeah.
Because she looks like continuing. Alright, go.
Yeah. I did hear about Bright Eyes, or I guess a statue of her in Sigurd? Or
Svigard.
Svigard? Svigard.
Yeah.
But
It's SV.
I mean, by the fact that you haven't mentioned anything about werebears, I'm assuming my pack at the time would have, lied low around you.
Well, if it was a statue in the northern section, she points on the map to where you remember it being. She says, if it was here, that was actually a commemoration of our first meeting. Talia was a very accomplished ranger fighter, and she actually managed to complete an entire orcish tribe. She wiped out the entire tribe completely by herself. That's what earned her status before we even heard about her. And then when we met her, we decided that we should put up a commemoration of her joining the party and joining the force, so to speak. I'm glad to know that it's still standing all these years later.
Neat.
Yes. Moving on, however, from there, we traveled to one of those sorceress towers. This one here in the north, and she points to the one above Isin on the map. Again, the orange line is the first adventure that she's explaining. It takes about 4 years in total. She says, Fioria was basically the goal for that first adventure, on top of clearing out Citra's teeth, of course, with the goal of giving over that territory to Hyrios, to the Northern Kingdom, and making it safe, removing all the giants and dragons, etc., exterminating them. And she was the goal because we had heard, and truthfully enough, that she had perfected or created some source of eternal life, and, she was successful in doing so, or she was working on doing so, and then she was successful by the time that we arrived. However, she was not exactly alone in terms of dangerous and possibly extremely powerful sorcerers on the continent. There was another one who she told us about that would be the focus of our second journey. And now, technically, it is one who you have met. And she continues on to the map, pointing to this blue line. She says, with Furia in our party, and with some assistance from other forces in Hyrios, we scouted out this area here. She circles the area that I have in purple. This is known, or was known, as the Sorcerer's Vale. This is the territory of one such individual, referred to as Falbrook von Umber. And his keep is located here, to this day, I would add, because I severely doubt that anyone lives there anymore. Valbrook is a foul and evil creature, and was, even back then, the consort of many evil things. Demons, devils, the undead, and, of course, the giants of the mountains, etc. He was our, essentially, villain for the second part of our adventure. Furia knew of him because they were both sorcerers. They dealt, to a degree, in similar goals. Valbrook's goal being to keep himself alive forever, and Furia's goal being to keep others alive forever. Thus far, Furia was the more successful, and thus she joined us with the hope of removing him from, well, life, essentially, and our goal of cleansing the continent could not be completed until he was dead as well. After 2 years, we were successful in the goal. Valbrook himself was thrown down and his keep despoiled with a very significant conflict. He had made his entire Vale a safe place for the giants who had been kicked out of the rest of Sildur's Teeth. So it was a pitched battle rather than the violent crushing that we had hoped, but by the end of it, it came down to just himself and Anaran. At the end of that conflict, he was dead, or so we assumed. Unfortunately for us, well, clearly not everything was as it seemed. Is the rest of that clear or making sense? I don't suppose any of you have heard of Valbrook before. Again, you can give me history if you'd like.
I am optimistic about this one.
Yeah, I'll give a history just to see if Valbrook rings any bells. Who knows? Maybe it will. Holy shit.
Damn, 20.
Holy
20.
shit.
Oof.
I'll take a
Damn.
21.
I'll take a 20. Alright, holy shit. All right.
What about the rest of you, Gaz? And Senju? You're not required to, I'm just offering it.
No, I don't think Senju would know.
Alright, fair
Fuck,
enough.
man.
So,
I think this is just
Wait, actually, he might, honestly.
yeah, because Valbrook actually was a relatively well-known name for a specific reason. A 16 actually gets you different information, but we'll get to that in a second. So,
Oh.
Okay.
with the 20s, you two instantly go, Valbrook von Umber. Valbrook. Valbrook's Keep. You've not only seen that on maps, because it is clearly marked on a lot of older maps, you've also seen the name Sorcerer's Vale, but Valbrook von Umber or Valbrook's Keep is more common. The information that you get about it, since you don't know much about the actual hero's journey, is basically that it was one of the last places of Sidra's Teeth that was cleared out. Back in the day, and you would know this, especially those of you living in the Dimlands, a lot of the Teeth was basically controlled by different tribes of stone giants, hill giants, fire giants, and storm giants, etc., in addition to various clades of dragons and other species of creature. One of the reasons that Isin today is such a big hub of dragons is that the original hero's party was actually successful in killing or driving out a large number of dragons in Sidra's Teeth, and most of them resettled in the far south to stay away from the hero's party. The giants, on the other hand, they mostly fled eastward, because you can see that the adventurer's path basically goes from the western of Felbay all the way eastward to Furia's Tower, which today is like modern-day far northern edge of Isin territory, technically in Anaran's Wastes. So, the Valbrook's Keep thing that you would know is basically that it was the last area in Sidra's Teeth to be cleared out, and that Valbrook himself had a remarkably bad reputation. Like, consorting with the devil level bad reputation. The man was basically trying to be like Sauron to a high devil's Saruman. He was every single bad type of magic you've ever heard of. Necromancy, blood magic, fucking lichdom, all of that shit is associated with the Sorcerer's Veil.
Ooh.
And like, you don't remember too much about the actual battle because the descriptions of it are pretty terrible, but you just remember like absolutely climactic movie level shit. In terms of the graininess of the film, it would be on par with the last alliance of men and elves from The Lord of the Rings. And also, by the time that a lot of the giants had made it to Valbrook's Keep, they were undead already, so a lot of undead giants fighting against elven soldiers. It was great. Very, very apocalyptic. With a 16, however, something jogs your mind about Furia, Senju. You've kind of heard some more information about this. Not about the person themselves, because even the way that Minetia describes Furia, she clearly is mistrusting of her. Like, very much, this is a sketchy person that we brought along because they were powerful, basically. But you remember, there was something about that, especially about the whole keeping dead people alive thing, that strikes a chord with you. Can you roll me another history? This one with advantage. Okay. Something about that name. Something about that name, Furia, and bringing people back to life. You're not sure what it is, but you're racking your brains about it. All right, I will stop talking. You guys can ask questions or make a comment before I continue on.
Fuck, I wish I had a way to re-roll that.
Magic.
Should have gotten laid. That's how we get inspiration. I'm kidding.
Oh, damn!
Oh, right, yeah, I still have that inspiration. I'm getting back to
I've
Cuesta.
been so good at playing in character. I actually gotten at least one inspiration by now.
Inspiration does not work like that. I'm sorry, I don't give it out.
Yeah.
I don't give it out. It is a function of essentially that system and that system alone. If this were a different campaign where you guys had less innate buffs, I would give out inspiration, but not for this one.
Fair enough.
Oh man, I miss that. I used to get inspiration all the time, but
Don't worry, the next campaign everyone will have inspiration all the time.
Hooray.
oh man, I need to get some poontang.
Alright.
Good luck with that.
You gotta actually
God.
get...
Enough.
Absolute challenge mode for Senju though.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, just build him a dance,
Yeah.
build him a nest, and do a little dance. That's how you do the dance with your people.
True.
That's wild.
What? You don't know what I'm talking about?
Some D&D racism.
Hey, that's part for the course. Shit.
I'll have you know, my people have very sophisticated mating rituals.
You don't have a people, you're
Yeah.
solo. Alright.
Yeah, cool. Anyway.
So on to the rest of you. Any questions or comments before she just continues? You guys did. You got a lot of information from your memory, so.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so mad. I wish I could give myself.
I'm trying to think of like an
I'll
actual
reroll
good
somehow.
question, but I can't think of anything.
Well, you got that information. You could confirm that it's true or ask more about it.
Yeah, so it was basically like great evil wizard or magic person.
You got a mental association with the name Valbrook von Umber, that you've heard about the Wizard's Veil, at least on maps,
Yeah,
and that there's some information about it there.
yeah. Wizard.
Could I roll insight to see why she's distrusting of Furia?
You absolutely could.
Oh,
See, we're thinking now. We're thinking.
Yeah.
I
You
should-
can, you can also.
Bitch.
I will
What's
also
up?
say, you can ask about any of the heroes. She's totally happy to like give you a little bit more backstory.
I got +8, bitch. Was 25.
Insight 25. She definitely seems to be talking about Furia the same way that you would talk about, like, bringing a contractor on a home improvement job. Like, this person was with us not because they were necessarily a trusted or good friend. Like, the way she talks about Gojin and Aron is like, this is my childhood friend and my childhood friend's best friend. And then the way she talks about Furia is, she was the goal of the campaign, then she stuck around for a bit. Maybe, and you also assume that given the fact that she is a religious caster, a cleric, she might look down on the pure arcane caster, the sorceress.
The people who just got that shit out of the factory.
Yeah.
Bro just had that shit. Alright,
She did also mention that Valbrook and Furia were working on the same goal, but Furia was just more successful at making other people immortal. Or quote-unquote, helping other people to live forever.
Well,
I mean, that's pretty sus, because generally in the literature that shit always comes at a human cost. So
That's a good thing to bring up.
yeah,
of some kind.
it's a terrible day for rain.
You know, that's exactly what I was referencing.
Yeah, I know.
I
So-
do have a question about this.
Yes.
So, alright, before I ask, remind me, what was the other, not Chaucer, person who contracts Chaucers? The lady who has disease and has been with them for a long ass time.
The lady from Foray Port, Katarina. Yeah, Lady Katarina
alright.
from Foray Port. Yes.
Norbert's gonna ask, would you know if Furia's, I don't know if during or after the party was about their business, had she, do you know any of, like, who she made immortal?
Well, the methods that she used to make people quote-unquote immortal were referred to as preapts. These are arcane devices that basically captured or trapped the soul of their user, keeping it around even long after the person had been slain. Essentially, and I do have one of these myself, and that's the reason why I've been able to live for so long, is that they would retain the soul after the body was destroyed. And various levels of power would allow various levels of freedom within the preapt. Some people were little more than ghosts or spiritual projections of their former selves. Others were, as you see me now, full-bodied, and she gestures to the corpse, well, to the living body, but the horribly withered body inside of the glass case. Just some of them were able to survive forever, others were unique. Again, she physically made these items. They look like a black stone, roughly the size of, well, your fist, generally.
Uh-huh.
I have one, but for security reasons, I can't show you, obviously.
Of course.
If you broke it, then this entire continent could be destroyed by one more activation of the Black Cauldron, so...
Yeah, yep.
You were thinking
Don't have to
about
worry about
someone
that.
who perhaps had one of these preapts?
Yes, but can I roll history to see if I know if any vague ghostliness is about... Sorry, I forgot her name again.
Lady Katarina.
Katarina.
You've never seen her in person, but from how you had it described to you, and from how she just went over how the preapts work, like, some of them were very strong and could maintain a physical form outside of them. Other ones were like a ghost stuck inside of a rock, where you could talk to it and it could talk back to you, but it couldn't form any type of physical body. So, as far as you can tell, if somebody was in a preapt, they probably wouldn't be a fully functional person.
No, I mean, I thought when Katarina, God damn it! First name. Or
She
last-
doesn't have one, just Katarina from Foray Port. She did not give you anything.
Right.
Well, you didn't get anything else from, because I don't think you guys went into it in the first session.
Yeah, we know of another lady from Foray Port named Katarina that might have been one, but she seems too functional, I guess.
Is she an elf?
Yes.
That probably is not one then, because many elves are able to outlive the withering sickness. It tends to affect those who live longer significantly less, and of course, it affects those who were further south in the continent significantly less. You will remember that Foray Port is the furthest southern city on the entire continent.
Gotcha.
I thought of something. Is the wasting disease, does that have to do with how they make people immortal? Is there like a connection there?
Well, that's
That makes sense, I think.
that's a little bit more complicated, and that's related to the collapse. The preapts were relatively pure. Furia designed them in order to trap the essence of the soul. They weren't really designed to keep the body alive unless they were particularly powerful. In the case of myself and the rest of my fellow heroes, each of us had one of those greater preapts. They permitted us to essentially vault back into a new body whenever one was destroyed. She only made those after Valbrook's destruction, so I can only assume that the rest of my fellows either had their preapts destroyed or perhaps they're somewhere else. I came back at this tower where you see me now. But I have never heard tell of another one of my own, well, coming back or being seen again.
Oh.
It's possible that they've remained alone. The method of our parting was not exactly positive, and if there are no more questions, I think I can get to that.
Okay.
Continue.
Good.
Continue. I was.
She looks at you. Questions?
Like give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna get myself another drink.
Alrighty. I was asking the other one, but alright.
Hey yo,
Let's hear it.
Mr. White.
Under what circumstances did your party disband?
So,
If you have.
I am, and it's important that you know, unfortunately. So, after Valbrook's fall, there were a couple of unfortunate things that occurred. First off was, my dear friend Anaran's, well, his trust in the rest of the party began to fail. And it was pretty significant, especially against some of our other members, including Furia. Furia had just developed the best version, the greater preapts, by the time that she was, well, I don't exactly want to say replaced, because I'm not exactly sure how it occurred, but she left the party at some point, and somebody else took her place, in her guise, pretending to be her, in all effect, another sorceress individual. I, personally, believe that that was likely Valbrook, though I'm not sure how, and I've no idea why, but he somehow survived. I know this because the time of our party's breaking was Anaran's coronation. After the period of distrust where Anaran and us were touring the northern countryside and enjoying the successes of our time, and of course, Furia was creating and had created our preapts to keep us alive forever, eternal heroes, or so it was said. He was set to be crowned, set up to be king of the Northern Kingdom and lord over the entirety of Hyrios. Well, by that time, we had no trust for him whatsoever, and we had decided to crash the party, as it were. The remaining party members, save for, of course, this other sorcerer, who it turned out was Valbrook, as mentioned, well, we crashed the event. I attempted to reason with Anaran, and he killed my physical body, throwing me back into the preapt. I came here. And that is all I knew about it, other than the fact that the fight went on, and the collapse began. Well, as far as that is concerned, I do not know exactly how the Lich, and I am fairly certain the same creature that you just saw, the Lich Valbrook ended up taking Furia's place, or even if that was some sort of arrangement that they had. As mentioned, they were both sorcerers, and thus both not exactly trustworthy individuals. I ended up completely separated. Once we went to crash the event and disrupt the crowning ceremony, as most of us had lost our faith, or most of the others had lost trust in Anaran's leadership. He was defending this individual, who we did not know at the time was Valbrook. But, well, I attempted to reason with him. I was slain. I do not know what happened other than that the collapse then began. I had some difficult months here, watching and trying to assist with the refugee efforts, and of course find my fellow party members, but I was too far away. The Northern Kingdom was practically obliterated by the collapse, down to the very stones. And there were no bodies left behind, and I had no idea where the other preapts were. By the time the collapse reached the Dimlands, there was so much panic that I decided to devote myself entirely to try and stopping the collapse. The only thing I managed to do was to destroy my connection with my god, and eventually develop the barrier. So that is how it has been, and I'm now stuck here, anchored to the place, and forced to remain lest something similar occur again, and my magics are needed once more.
Oh, so she is the barrier, pretty much?
So, to describe that in regular human language, because I know that was a fucking mess of words, to go really quick, I'm gonna fucking 100% speed this shit up, alright? So,
Alright.
Menetia and Anaran, childhood friends, full anime style.
Yep.
Anaran is the prince of Hyrios, this northern kingdom. You could consider him a little bit like Link.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, Link's just a good old boy that
Yeah,
has
he's
better powers, isn't he?
from a small village.
Anyway, continue.
That's it. Never mind.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just calling him Link because he's an elf and because he's a good boy with a sword. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's the chosen champion of Sidra. Sidra is the primary goddess of the entire pantheon. And again, being a champion of a god is a real thing and is pretty fucking terrifying on the continent.
That's a pretty big
The
deal.
two of them, Menetia and Anaran, headed south and east to try and clear out Sidra's teeth of giants. At this point, they were both in their teens, basically, and they were very young adventurers with the goal of, like, freeing the people. They ended up clearing out the area that it was originally included Goj, the bugbear's home, basically. So they, like, liberate his family and all of his tribe. Goj declares himself as, like, a bond brother to Anaran. Basically, how do I say, like, devotes his life to him, says, like, you saved my life and all of my family's lives, so I'm going to essentially serve you until I die. That kind of thing.
He becomes a Joe Bro, got it.
Yeah, it becomes a Joe Bro.
Literally.
The three of them continue through the mountains, basically exterminating everything over 7 feet tall, and getting rid of a bunch of dragons and dangerous shit for the next 4 years. So, in terms of party level, they go from starting her out around, like, 4th level to being probably at least 8th level by the time that they reach the southern isthmus and these townships where they find Svigerd and Talia. Svigerd and Talia are already pretty important. Svigerd was basically a Batman-type character. He was a justice vigilante loner-type dude. And Talia was this famous little engine that could folk hero-s, who had already exterminated a huge tribe of orcs, and was very famous around the territory.
Was he the one that was he the bugbear?
He's the
Or
rogue.
No, that was Goj.
Yeah.
Figured is that guy.
Svigerd is this
okay.
guy up here. He's a quintessential wood elf rogue.
Yeah.
They eventually ended up at Furia's tower. Now, why Furia? Why her tower? The thing that they were looking for was basically, from the perspective of Anaran, who was the party's leader, was a way to improve the lives of all mankind. Like, the goal was a very optimistic, how do we improve the entire fate of the country, essentially. And so, of course, the person who's giving out rocks that make you immortal is going to be their eventual goal. But when they get there, Fury is basically like, cool, I'm going to join up with you. You guys seem fun and nice. I'm successful, but I still need time. I'm developing the ultimate version of my Live Forever rocks, which is the greater preapts. I'm calling them Live Forever rocks. They're preapts. They essentially trap your soul. They are effectively like a Skyrim soul gem, if you want a general reference. There are different power levels. Some of them just keep, like, an aspect or a memory of you, and, like, your memories and your soul and stuff. Other ones can straight up project an image of you, and then the greater preapts literally recreate your body with flesh and blood. The same way that has been done for Menetia. You're literally seeing in front of you, somewhere in here, there's a greater preapt that recreated her body. Unfortunately, she then was afflicted with the withering sickness, and she's managed to push on beyond that, and figured out how to astral project herself in a new form. So, Furia then told them, hey, there's another sorcerer who's pretty famous and pretty evil. You know, Furia was never a trustworthy individual. Basically, the way that Menetia describes it is like, she was a little suspicious the whole time, and we think she may have just gone missing at some point after she gave them the preapts, because Valbrook von Umber, this person who was a very dangerous, very deadly sorcerer, apparently swapped places with her after their climactic battle with him.
Oh.
And at the time, they all didn't know this, but they did know that, one, hey, Anaran's getting pretty fucking paranoid and aggressive, and in addition to that, he's not letting anyone poke into the fact that the sorcerer is clearly not the same person that they were a couple of months ago. So that disguise eventually wears thin, to the point where the rest of the party break in on the coronation, which is Anaran's crowning to become king of the Northern Kingdom.
Yep.
Valbrook is fucking there, actively is a lich, and so Menetia tries to get Anaran to fight with them against the lich. Anaran fucking guts her, basically, in front of everybody.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like his childhood friend. He literally just fucking cuts her head off in front of everyone, as she's pleading with him to, hey, kill the bad guy, please.
Kill the lich.
Yeah, so that's all that she remembers in character, but after she dies, her body is vaulted back to her preapt. She ends up in one of these towers. She's basically fucking crushed emotionally, because all this shit just happened in a fraction of the amount of time that they've been traveling together. Almost 6+ years of constant adventuring. And by the time that the collapse reaches them, she devotes herself to trying to stop it. She has the wasting disease. She gives up on Nuessa entirely and embraces pure arcane magic, Belathanor, to try and turn on the barrier, which is successful, and she is the reason that the collapse eventually ends, and the line of death and destruction stops at the barrier. So that is the information that she gives you in a nutshell.
Okay.
Damn.
That's fucking intense.
And she has kind of alluded, that was the collapse that you saw a second time, and also the person who you just saw was probably Valbrook von Umber, the Lich, the same one from back then.
So how did you stop it the first time?
Well, like I just stopped it the second time, activating the barrier. Unfortunately, and she kind of gestures a finger around at the interior of the building, she says, though this is dressed up like a Church of Nuessa, technically I am no longer a cleric of Nuessa. I am a cleric of Nuessa in name only. My god has abandoned me, and I've taken up the practices of the at-the-time outer god, Belathanor. And it was technically through that power that I'm able to create and maintain the barrier, though probably not the most wholesome thing. It has also introduced Belathanorist worship onto the continent, which I'm sure has only caused marginal problems for you, but has caused plenty of problems for other churches. And she makes a very, gross, that makes me upset that I did that face. Like, there's clear regret of, I gave up my god so I could save all of humanity, and it still doesn't sit well with me.
That's gotta be fucking rough.
Especially for a cleric.
Yeah, for a cleric, that's gotta be fucking gut wrenching.
Yeah.
Was the cauldron ever mentioned at all? I feel like the cauldron's kind of important.
You can ask.
Since,
Again, this is the point where I'm telling you. This is
thing.
the point where I'm telling you, hey, fucking ask questions, because there's a lot of shit that I left out intentionally.
Yeah.
So the cauldron? What's up with that thing?
Yes, the Black Cauldron and, by extension, the Cauldron-born. The Cauldron-born weren't really something that we ran into. I observed what you observed, of course, that they were bringing back the dead in a way that allowed them to keep some of what they were. I'm slightly concerned about where exactly he got that power. I'm very concerned about how he's going to use it, but the Black Cauldron itself was shattered at the end of our fight with him, or at the end of Anaran's fight with him, rather. As mentioned, that battle was remarkably violent, and it left all but Anaran dead. When he came back and revived us, Valbrook was also gone. Again, apparently he wasn't dead, but we all at the time assumed that he was. The Black Cauldron was his method of preserving life. The goal was essentially to, again, as you just saw, bring back the dead as living creatures, as opposed to the preapts, which trapped the soul itself, and then could theoretically, if they were powerful enough, generate a body from it. I assume that whatever the cauldron is now, clearly it wasn't that destroyed thing in the building, but whatever the cauldron is now, he's made a way to turn it into its own spell, essentially, and perhaps there's something more to it. He did mention about priming the continent for something greater, and perhaps that could be what he intended to do in the first place. Kill everyone and then raise them all as intelligent or dumb undead. I'm not sure, but that seems to be very on brand for what he was trying to do before. Just killing things and bringing them back to see if it made them better. Or living
Sound-
forever, as it were.
Do you know how you guys destroyed the cauldron in the first place?
Yes, it was shattered into tiny pieces, broken hundreds of times, and swept to the corners of his fortress. It, as far as we could tell, wasn't particularly important in pieces, and without him, so...
Well, I'm asking, how did you destroy it? Because we tried to, and it just didn't.
What are you referring to?
Like, I remember we tried to hit the cauldron with something, and it just didn't work.
You tried to hit him with something, and it didn't do shit. You guys didn't interact with the cauldron at all.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
Also, she did mention that wasn't the cauldron. That was just a cauldron essentially acting as a stand-in. What he dropped into it and then what he poured into it, those were apparently magic. And you might want to consider the fact that the first thing he dropped in, the thing that created the cauldron born, was a black iron trapezoid, as if a broken piece of pot iron.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing was a heart-shaped black rock. A relatively large one.
So, define heart-shaped, like...
I have it here. I have a reference image. There you go. It's like a large, worked black block of obsidian.
I want to guess that's part or a fraction of the magical towers, but...
It did look like it. It did look like it, but also, now that you're hearing from her what the preapts are and what they look like, a black obsidian stone... That might also be what that was, or something related to them.
That might have been one of the... That almost certainly would have been one of the pre-apps, but of who?
Yeah,
Of
would
whom?
it be the soul in the pre-app that...
Yeah, what is he pouring out? That's a good question.
How many of these does he have?
Wait, if it's a pre-app, then it's probably less about the object and more about the fact that he's putting a living being in it. Like, he's putting a soul into the cauldron.
And that,
That's
if you
probably
remember, that's what kicked off the collapse wave.
That's probably the requisite, is the sacrifice of a human soul.
Or maybe like a hero or something like that, because if he got the pre-app from one of the others, say?
God.
Or
Now I'm starting to wish.
I don't know how we would know if it was a hero. Well, I mean,
You could
I
ask
don't know if that would be how would it necessitate?
because the larger ones are the larger ones are more powerful, like significantly more powerful.
Larger ones are more powerful.
They're closer to a Lich's phylactery in terms of power level, whereas the smaller ones are closer to like a small magical item. And the difference is mostly in the size and whether or not they look like they've been worked. And again, she would describe this to you because she knows about the pre-apts, but she didn't see that exact moment.
Well, that kind of reinforces the idea that it requires a human soul.
Okay.
It's quite possible. Makes a lot of sense.
I do have a question for her. Do you know where Anaron's pre-op would have been at the time of his crowning?
She shakes her head and says, I've thought about that many times, and I can't really figure it. Well, I only know that one of my fellows held on to their pre-app permanently. The rest of them gave them to Furia for safekeeping, essentially. Well, that would be Goj. Goj, he kept his on him at all times. He never let go of it. He never even stored it anywhere. As for Anaran, I have no idea where it'd be. Like I said, my only theory was that since I appeared in these towers, specifically this tower, I assumed that the others would have appeared in towers as well. But considering that it generates a new body when the individual dies, they could have picked it up themselves and walked anywhere. When I checked the tower closest to me, which is the one that we just came from, there wasn't one there. So they could be anywhere.
Wait, so
can't get much further than that for obvious reasons. I need to be back here just in case something happens where I need to reactivate the barrier, of course.
Wait, so how... If she got her head cut off, how is her body still alive in this tower?
Again,
Because it got taken back there, didn't it?
you're talking to essentially an astral projection. her body, it was generated instantly upon her death the first time. And if you were to go and stab her in the case and kill her permanently, it's possible that a new body would generate. But for that brief period of time, the entire continent would be at jeopardy.
Yeah, let's not do that.
And it's also how long would she last, right? Because remember how bad the withering sickness goes? It's progressive. So at this point, she's probably taking hundreds of necrotic damage every time she regenerates.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
Like you get that there's probably a reason why she's left the moldering corpse there rather than trying to get a new body every day. Because it's probably absolute mind-shattering agony to try and go through that process while that far in the withering sickness.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if there was a way we could help her in this.
All right.
We would say if we have a chance, we probably should, but still, goddamn.
I have a hypothesis, but I
We
don't
just cast
want to
more
say
Bible.
it. I don't want to say it because I could be wrong.
Oh, say it in character with her.
Yeah, remember to detail what's in versus out of character now that I've gone off script, as it were.
Yeah, no, I just don't want to say it in general.
Okay, well, you can text it to me.
It's just a hunch.
Okay. You can text it to me and I will tell you if you're hot or cold. How about that? As for the rest of you, any other questions, points of clarification? Do we all understand the basic timeline of events? Because this really matters, like, a lot.
I do have another question.
Yes.
Entirely separate from what we've been talking about. In character. So, you said you were disconnected from your god, and I mean no offense by asking. How does that work for you? Like, currently, how do you have power if it's not from Nuasa?
Well, if you understand how a god works, essentially, you can reject one and accept another. In this case, I was forced to go with a more arcane persuasion, specifically Belathanor. So I am currently, technically, a cleric of Belathanor.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I'm clear for her to move on to the next.
I was going to say
That's
just
it. That's all she has. No moving on. Now you
I was gonna
discuss.
say, well, just to make sure I have everything down, you and your party spent about 4 years fighting and killing giants in Sidra's Teeth, found Svigard and Bright Eyes to then go and get Fioria, to then go on a quest to, well, first
Defeat
you-
Valbrook. Yes.
to defeat Valbrook, wherein Valbrook survived, took over or replaced Furia, supposedly, as far as we know, and ended with Anaran killing you.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And as it stands at the moment, it's very, very likely that he's probably going to attempt, well, either to use that same ritual again to try and start the collapse a second time, or a third time, I suppose, or quite possibly just make direct war on the entire continent, which is very likely because his hope will be to find where I am, to destroy me, and then to instantly restart the collapse, killing everyone, permanently.
I do have a
generally-
theory. So, I'm not aware if you saw, but when he was putting things in the cauldron, first the some sort of fragment for the cauldron born, but for the actual ritual proper, he threw in what either looked like some fragment of one of the towers or what could have been a preapt. Would a preapt containing a soul with enough power be able to fuel a ritual that's powerful as the I want to say wave of death? That's not what it's called, but
Collapse.
you know what I'm talking
could
about.
say the collapse.
The collapse.
But you can also say wave of power, that's accurate.
Yeah. Would that have been enough to fuel it? Say if it were, one of your party member souls?
She kind of makes a face and says, if it's just one of the souls of us that's required, then I'm not exactly sure how he would have done it the first time, if you'll understand me. Now, Remember, we thought he was dead. So whatever resources or whatever powers he had gained while he was masquerading as our sorcerer, I can't imagine that that was equivalent to one of our souls. If it was supposed to be his soul or something else, I don't know why a man who was so hell-bent on lichdom wouldn't have done that a long time ago. There definitely needs to be some power source, and possibly human souls may be involved, but I would imagine that it's something far more powerful, possibly physically powerful, if you get my meaning. The source of arcane power, of course, is the elements and nature, etc., so it's possible that he's drawing off of that in some way. Obviously not directly, but perhaps indirectly, or through some intermediary. Of course, you saw that isn't the actual Black Cauldron, and it seemed like the Black Cauldron was directly related to the collapse the first time, so, well, at least that was his primary objective when we killed him, or when we thought we killed him. So, I would imagine finding that would also be very close to finding whatever source of power he's using.
Oh, so it's... Okay.
The Black Cauldron is somewhere out there. Possibly reforged, possibly something else. Who knows?
Oh, I think that's what we need. We need the cauldron. That's the key somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
She
gotta be
also
it.
she takes a second and adds, I would also say that Anaran at that point was clearly either helping him or in some way important to the plan. Otherwise, he would have just killed him and gotten rid of him. So if you needed to point out 3 things that he needed to bring about continental-sized apocalyptic downfall, Anaran, the Black Cauldron, and himself would probably be pretty up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
If you could remove any of those 3 things from his power, I'd say you've gone a long way in saving everyone's lives.
I mean, do we...
Yeah,
Can we do a
yeah.
history?
options to him.
Do you have any idea where any of those things might be now?
Well, as far as Anaran's pre-apt, I would imagine that he's definitely looking for it. If he hasn't found it already, I would say, as I did, that, a starting point might be the Sorceress Towers. Another option, of course, is to find Valbrook himself and kill him. Not that I'd recommend it. Quite, difficult, even the first time. It killed all of us, and she, makes a judgmental look at you and says, we were a little bit more advanced than you are now. And, your third option would be trying to find the cauldron. As far as that's concerned, going up to his keep could be an option if you didn't value your continued existence, but it's quite a ways, and probably very dangerous. As mentioned, again, very violent battle, lots of undead giants. I would imagine it hasn't gotten easier if that's where he's been hiding out for 50 years.
Huh.
Then it probably easier to find Furia? Her name? Furia.
Yeah, Furia.
But she gone.
I don't know where she is or what happened to her. She, like I said, apparently had left beforehand. Whether she was caught up in the collapse or escaped from it, I would imagine a woman like her, so obsessed with extending lifespans, would probably still be around, but God knows where she is. I never even tried to find her.
I do have a question regarding Valbrook's replacement of Furia. Was it still Furia's body that was with your party while you're on the way to Hydrios?
It looked exactly the same. A middle-aged woman in a dark gray cloak.
Uh-huh. Can I get Arcana to see, is there anything I might know of that would have been able to allow that level of
There's a
control?
billion fucking things that could straight up illusion that for you.
Damn.
Like basic fucking disguise self would have worked.
Fair enough.
And considering that they both have the same class, in game terms, they're both sorcerers. It would have been pretty hard to tell the difference, even if they got into combat or something.
Yeah.
Damn.
You do know
Damn.
that she did mention that the party had begun to question. Number 1, hey, is this the same Furia? And number 2, why the fuck is Anaran getting so touchy and uncomfortable with us questioning whether this is the same person?
Yeah.
So it's possible he knew about it.
Yeah.
You'd be able to intuit that, and you get the feeling that Monetia probably has intuited that, but she probably doesn't want to think about it, because that implies that, the person who was her childhood friend who murdered her had already planned to betray them long beforehand and was still palling it up with them for almost 6 months.
Oh, that's... Oof.
Why the fuck would he do that, though?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Or did he even do that? Did he even know? He was a very stressed man. He's still like in his he's still a young man about to have the authority of an entire country dumped on him. Like his ascension to the throne wasn't planned. His father literally just went, "You're a hero now. You're taking over."
That's, you know what? That's
He was
fair.
a high elf, right?
Yes, he was.
So he would be alive now if he had lived out his natural life, right?
And because he had a preapt, he would be alive anyway, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
If he hadn't
what I
died in
mean.
the collapse, then yes, he would still be alive.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of stress,
if he hadn't died, so he was reported to have died in the collapse.
Yes. I mean, he was there at the coronation, and there's almost nothing left of the original city because the collapse started there. It's literally a pile of dust. And ruins.
I'm gonna just take a wild shot in the dark and say that he's still alive.
Again, all of the heroes' party are technically still alive because of the preapts.
Well, actually...
We gotta find...
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, alive in his original form, regardless of the preapt, I think he's still alive.
Okay.
That's just my hunch.
that, and maybe also try and find the rest of them, but they are at the very least secondary.
It's a good question.
I don't think so.
Sounds like
I honestly
moving
think
on.
I think finding the others is primary, especially the sorcerer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Furia.
Furia is very
Furia. Yeah,
We're just
Furia
thinking,
is
like-
absolutely finding a priority, and finding the cauldron, I think, is also a priority because that has to have a pivotal role in whatever the collapse is.
Yeah, if we can
I
figure out how to neutralize the cauldron in some way, then I think we basically have, at the very least, gotten a solid way, part of the way there. If not, we got there.
Yeah.
She did mention to you, like, hey, if I was gonna stop the apocalypse, the three things that he seemed to need last time was Anarin's approval and or help as as Sidra's chosen champion, himself, Valbrook's own like physical body and powers, and then the Black Cauldron. They shattered the Black Cauldron.
Oh shit! Okay, pieces are getting connected in my mind.
There you go. You're figuring it out.
Okay.
So
Oh my
where
god, I
those things
think I
are,
am, but I could not be.
where those things are, she is not exactly sure. But she shrugs her shoulders to all of your theorizing, which I don't know if it's in or out of character, and she says, "And that, unfortunately, is all that I know. I'm happy to give you information on each of them, but I can't really tell you more than that. I died pretty quickly, and I don't remember much other than a fight breaking out, and everything going to hell in a handbasket, and then all the refugees and the terror and the death and the rotting and the pain and all the rest of it, and the furthest I've gone from this tower has been to the other tower. So, not exactly so caught up with external things. The priesthood here are mine, by the way, I'd like to add. They are good friends, or rather they are good caretakers and stewards of my body. Their goal is to keep me as hidden as physically possible from the outside world, while also allowing me to continue in my duties as this continent's guardian. So that's the reason why they take a vow of silence.
That
To make sure they never mention that you exist here.
Exactly. If they can't mention anything, they can't slip up and mention that I'm here.
Well, and
all right
we
then.
voices have to be careful.
Very careful. I'd prefer you tell no one about me, because I never know when Valbrook is looking, and if he figured out exactly where I was, he wouldn't just be declaring war on the continent, he'd be coming directly to me to come kill me, and then he would be activating the ritual right on the spot and killing us all.
That is something to avoid.
It is. So I'll be staying here, as much as I'd love to accompany you on your adventures. I can't really risk that opportunity.
Noted.
Okay.
You have any Any lead on where we should start looking?
Like I said, if you wanted an idea as to where the preapts are, I know that mine was here when I died. That doesn't mean that somebody couldn't have picked up the rock and just walked off with it, or that one of my fellow heroes couldn't have just walked off with their own preapt. It's entirely possible, I've done it before, but it isn't very safe. If somebody with a stray arrow shot the rock instead of me, I could end up, well, completely destroyed instantaneously as my soul went off into the ether. But apart from that, I'd say that the towers are a good place to start. Another option would be going up to Valbrook's Keep. Not a safe path to take, certainly not alone. I would say it hasn't gotten any safer since we dispatched of him, or since we believe we dispatched of him. And that battle was one of the most deadly, leaving only Anaran alive, essentially. And he resurrected the rest of us when it was over, or when he said it was over. And going up there, you might be able to find the pieces of the cauldron, or perhaps if he's rebuilt it, you could try and destroy it. But I have no question that Valbrook himself is the primary driver of the entire ritual, which means finding him and defeating him, even though he's a lich and he will come back, will at least give you some time and be a significant setback in his plans. He needs to find me before he can actually start the ritual, or I will just stop it again. And he doesn't know where that is. So, finding him and killing him sets him back pretty significantly, though again, Valbrook is incredibly dangerous, especially as a lich. I wouldn't be surprised if he's become even more deadly than he used to be. So those are your three options. Finding Fioria might find you both. She has a very good chance of knowing where Anaran's preapt was, because she took all of them, and again, as far as I know, put them in the towers, so if somebody moved them, it's more likely to be her than anyone else.
I think finding Furia. I think finding Furia is our best bet.
I agree.
In which case, I'd take a look around and see if you can find any idea of where powerful sorceresses might be. Those who have lived forever, or maybe even more specifically, just places where people aren't. Even her original dwelling up in the far north was far away from human beings, and she kept herself relatively private.
I was going to ask if you thought she would be the type to return to her former dwellings.
She's an untrustworthy woman, but given the fact that I do know that there are some dragon folk who now live in that area, I would say that she's probably not there. Perhaps another tower. She did live in those before we joined up with her, so I would say again, the towers are a good option. Preferably one that is inaccessible and unavailable to others. That would probably be her preference.
Is she untrustworthy because she's just as a person, or because she's a contractor?
You could ask.
Is she just like an untrustworthy person, or like because she was kind of just contracted?
Well, that's a little bit difficult. You could call it a little bit of woman's intuition, but the much better explanation is that I never trusted what she said. Her beliefs and the things that she posited were her goals, I didn't believe them. I think that she at least had a personal agenda, and I think that was proven by the fact that she left quietly. At whatever point she did leave, she didn't make it public. And if Anaran was the one who dismissed her, as I think is quite possible given the fact that he was so protective of his replacement, if he dismissed her after what she had done, I think it may have been that Anaran figured that out and got rid of her, so to speak. But she did well by us. As much as I don't trust her, and didn't trust her at the time, she has kept us alive, and she kept her promise of making us immortal, I suppose, for all the good it's done. But I don't trust her. She was not a trustworthy woman, and I didn't trust the things she said, or what she said she believed, or nothing. I didn't trust anything about her, but...
What did she say she
What was
believed?
it about her that made you not trust her?
Well, again, her main goal was to keep others alive, to extend the lives of others. It was something that Anaran himself praised as a worthy goal, to improve the quality of life of the average man and woman. And I will say that is what we did. We handed out these preapts to dozens of people. Prototypes and experiments, and many of the things that she made ended up in the hands of average citizens on our way back to the capital.
Certainly a noble gesture.
She shrugs. I thought it was at the time. I would also say that if you're going to have the entire continent prepare for war with an undead army of this size, I'd recommend that you get this information back to them as quickly as you possibly can. Not that I don't appreciate company or am not here to answer questions. I certainly am, and if you'd like to come back at any point and continue asking questions, I'd be happy to do so. But I'm just saying that your time is now certainly running out, and you are on a time limit before I am discovered, and this entire continent is razed, and in more ways than one.
Huh.
Any questions in particular?
None but the crushing uncertainty of this.
The crushing uncertainty.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
wild.
if we make the wrong move, we could just like
Doom
blow up the
world.
continent.
Oh, fuck.
Blow up the continent is wild, but yes.
Damn it, I wanted to go back to Quest.
She's actually recommending you do go the fuck back to Coesta, because that's where the forum is, and that's also where the military is going to be planning.
Oh yeah, we
deal
can
with this
get in contact with the military. We should go to Coesta, and no other reason. Certainly not.
I mean, hold on, here's the thing. We definitely don't have the resources on hand to go
Yeah,
straight to the
yeah.
keep or to Furia's
probably
old
should
tower
go.
or anywhere else.
Yeah,
I am glad that we probably
Furia's
should
do
old
not
tower,
have that.
Furia's
God.
old tower, this area, she says, and you would know, is currently part of the Isan Empire. So if she was there, somebody probably would have found her.
Oh,
We're not going there.
So that's
What about that?
yeah.
Yeah, so let's look at the other towers. If you guys want to theorize about this, because I'm happy to So here, I will get my drawing tool out because I can do
How
that.
many- How many serious towers are there in the area?
I'm about to show you. So in terms of Sorcerer's Towers, there is one here in Felbay. There is
Uh-oh.
formatting issue. There's one here in Felbay. There is one here. That's Furia's old tower, so that's not likely to be it. There is one at Sildra Fortress. There is the two that you guys have already seen, and it's not going to be those, because Manetia is in one and the other one is empty. There is one on the Isle of Ice. And then there is one more. There's one more here, which is really close to Valbrook's Keep. So
I don't
it's
know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total.
Okay. So we probably want to pick the one that's
And remember,
furthest away from
there are
society.
6 heroes.
six
So I do
here.
have a question.
Yes.
The one by Felbay,
Yes.
is there any town around it, or is
So,
it just out?
Felbay used to be an old town. That is the town that Manetia is from, which she described.
Anaran is there from there, right?
Anaran is from the north, what is called the Lost Capital now. Piper is desperately texting me. Give me a bit, Piper.
I texted you that shit like 5 minutes ago, twin.
Oh, shush. So, Manetia is from the town, or the old city of Felbay, which used to be on the coast. The Lost Capital, Hyrios, is in the center here. That's where Anaran is from. That's where the royal family was. That's where the coronation was, all that good shit. So, Felbay is kind of like the Lost Capital. It suffered the brunt of the collapse, and a lot of, the buildings have been completely destroyed. Felbay itself is full of fucking ocean monsters, from dragon turtles to krakens and shit. So nobody goes there, and a lot of the coastline has literally been washed away, either by monsters trying to get shit out of there, or by the collapse dusting half of the place.
So walking would probably be our best bet.
I mean, unless you want to fight some dragon turtles and krakens and really big sharks, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we'll
Wouldn't
go over.
recommend it, TBH.
Gotcha.
How about we check? Well, we could check Sildra Fortress.
You would also keep in mind, by the way, if Valbrook started off at Valbrook Keep again, if the Lich went back to his home, the 3 closest towers are going to be the first one he checks, right?
Right.
Because imagine what somebody could do if they got a hold of these preapts with the hero still inside of them.
Yeah, so we gotta be careful if he actually has any of them. Let's hope he doesn't.
He might legitimately be Pokemoning some of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
And-
So we want to make sure we find Anaran first, but we need to make sure. Well, okay, if he had Anaran, that would make him get pretty close to his plans.
Yep. If he had an
Second
Aran, he's
question.
got. If he had an Aran, he's got all 3 pieces of that shit. And
Okay, so we probably want to find.
then
probably
all he would
wanna-
need to do is kill Menetia, and then he's got it.
Yeah, so we would probably want to check Sildra Fortress and the one out in the
Isle of Ice.
Yeah.
Isle of Ice. I'm just trying to think.
Sildra Fortress is only like a 1 to 1.5 day trip from here.
I would argue that those 3 are probably already checked by the guy, Valbrook.
Yeah.
Yeah, very possible.
If there's any spot where he hasn't gone, I feel like the Isle of Ice is our best bet to find Furia.
Have any of you? Do you know anything about the Isle of Ice?
Can we make a history check?
Yeah, can we all try and remember
That.
the
Yeah,
Isle
I
of-
guess that would be a history check. Yes.
Another 21.
Okay.
Not bad rolls today.
Alrighty. Let me get my document up. Been a while since I had to look up the Isle of Ice. Okay. Oh, this might not be in the new document, actually. Lol. Yep, it's not. It's in the old document. We're gonna have to get to the redacted shit. Been
Oh,
a
boy.
long time since I had to do this. Give me like 5 minutes. If anybody wants to take a break, now's the time. Remember to just
Cool.
mute yourselves as you leave. I will take a few seconds here as I read through the old redacted stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Again,
So
we never got to this part in the original adventure, so...
yeah. So for anybody still here as we have the break,
By the way, I'm probably leaving this in the recording, so nothing too bad.
no. Yeah, I was just discussing my idea for where. Jesus, voice crack. Where I want to go, or I think we should go.
I guess we
Before
should try
that,
and decide
Can
between
you give
Fortress-
me a very quick summary of what happened? I had to run downstairs to go for something.
Damn. All right, so we were looking at the towers. Most likely, Velbrook has already checked the one in Fell Bay, the one in the Dimlands, the little town up there. I forget what it's called. It's the one where Bright Eyes and the Rogue were from. And then the other one that's just north of Isin and the town above that.
Mhm.
And then Luke's pulling up stuff about the Isle of Ice, which I think would be our best bet to hit if we go to Cuesta first, then take a ship out if, we're not tied to anything else there, out to the Isle of Ice, see what's happening there, and then from there we could either go to Cliffport, maybe go back to Cuesta. That'd be a lot of time just going back and forth. Or if we decide we're ballsy enough, we could go straight up the river past Isin and take the river basically up to Velbrook Keep. Because that's like a straight shot.
That is a straight shot. I'd say we save that for after we're level 8 at the very least.
Oh yeah, obviously.
But
That's like a level 9 move, if you're asking me, because then I get 5th level spell. Is it 5th?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, this is such an old document. It's actually in my phone's notes.
Oh my god.
goodness.
This has not been
that was not
updated
that one.
since August 6th of 2024. This is a
Yeah, that was
2-year-old
so-
encounter. A 2-year-old encounter that I wrote up. Gosh darn.
Well, we
this
have
is
a
from the
encounter.
This is from
Uh-oh.
the original campaign. God damn, I'm good at my job.
I'm surprised you're able to find it. Wow.
I have keywords in all of these.
Perfect. Alright, I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, so the big thing about the Isle of Ice, also referred to as the Isle of Tor, or the Isle of the Gate. The Isle of Ice, or the Isle of Tor, is referred to as such basically because it used to, big important thing on used to, be a place where ships would refuel. So it was the gate to getting far into the ocean one direction, or it was the gate to getting into the ocean on the other way. The other important thing, and the reason it was called the Isle of Ice, is because it has frozen. Not naturally, but for some reason arcanely, the area around the island itself has frozen. You can see that the island itself is kind of made up of a bunch of tiny land masses. There is now a thick layer of ice around and across the entire thing. in addition to a significant amount of fog. So people who used to go there, like travelers from Cliffport and from Forayport, who used to use it as a way to get into the Eastern Oceans or trade with Izzet or whatever, now they don't go there anymore. The place has kind of a negative reputation because of people going missing there. So there's been at least a half dozen ships that have washed up on the Isle of Ice, whether they like ran into an iceberg and they got stranded there, or they went there intentionally and they just went missing. A lot of people who were like treasure hunters or expeditions were sent there, they also just completely went missing.
Yeah, that sounds like a place that...
What's the Isle of Ice?
The Isle of Ice, also referred to as the Isle of Tor. It is right here on the bottom of the map.
I mean, that's 2 islands, but...
No, it's connected. Little piece of connection. Look,
Okay.
there's clearly land there. I made this in Incarnate. I know there's land there.
I don't see it. I don't see a connection, but...
There's connection right there.
I believe you.
Right there.
I believe you.
I made it. Alright.
I believe you.
Damn it, there's no zoomed in image of it. Alright, fine. Yes, it is one island, though. It is considered one island.
Alright, I am back.
Okay, basically,
Yeah,
it's
thanks.
surrounded by a thick layer of ice and fog. That's what you would know about it. And you would know that people tend to go missing there.
So what you're telling me is the Varm Sea is
This is
not
gonna be
very
an epic side quest.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, that's the weird thing, is the ice is unnatural. That amount of ice does not exist anywhere else. The warm
I
ice...
see.
Sounds like a weird sorceress's thing, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
How long ago did it get frozen over? Like, when did it just when did it go from being an island to?
couple of years after the collapse.
Ooh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
So in the middle of that trade war that she's talking about.
Okay,
Yeah,
this
the
is this is our obvious next location.
I mean, yeah. Do we all agree on that in
I
character?
You might want to say
concur.
you didn't actually say what you learned. I was just explaining it to you, so you might want to say that because it was you who learned that, my dear friend.
All right, cool.
Motherfuckers.
Oh God. How do I start this off? What were we talking about? So I know what to. Whatever. I'm just gonna.
just assume we've been mumbling about like what we've been doing. I'm imagining it's just like, well, I mean, there's this, and we could
Well,
just...
oh, she has a map pulled out, right? So I can just point to it and say, so, yeah, whatever.
Yes, she very much does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Norbert, like, points a claw at it, like, all right. If I wanted to be hidden, I think Furia might be here by the Isle of Ice. Now, I do remember at some point in the book about the trade war, it wasn't always frozen over. Like it happened at some point in the middle of that and after the collapse. My guess is Furia's there, and she's done that to keep other people out. Like the ice wall, essentially.
Okay. So how are we gonna get there?
Don't call me a Floyd.
I mean, we could dock our ship at the ice and walk, I suppose.
Hoof it.
I mean,
you know
what
this
other
place where people
choices
keep
there?
you know this place where people keep going missing and even explorers refuse to go? Maybe we should just crash land.
Yeah. I think Roland
Yeah, that'll
would probably know.
I feel like they did this in a movie. Wasn't it called Aliens?
Yeah, wait a minute. Question: would Roland know about this place mostly because of like his sailing buddies were probably like,
You've literally
Ooh.
sailed by it at certain points. Like,
Yeah,
it's
he's gonna
not
be like,
unknown that this place exists. It's just like a given that you don't go near the very dangerous ice pack. Like,
Yeah. I think Roland will be like, so you're telling us that you think she is in the place where literally everybody has told me for my entire life, don't go there, you will die, or at the very least never come back, which is essentially dying.
which is
Yeah, but we're
essentially
noted.
dying.
It's essentially.
I mean, if
Oh, we're goaded.
Yeah, but we're swagged out.
if you were a sorcerer hiding from a witch, wouldn't you want to be there?
Yes. All right, I'm convinced.
You hear Manetia say something under her breath.
In what?
What was that?
She says, "For your sake, I severely hope it is that she's hiding from him and not doing something else."
Oh.
Yeah, me too.
Me too, bro.
Thank you, Senju.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Good
I
job.
mean, we gotta go there either way.
I love Senju.
I mean, it's not that that was Silja
Me
Fortress.
too,
How
me
thrilled
too.
can we be that she's in Silja
Honestly,
Fortress?
my favorite character I've ever played easily.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, isn't Silja Fortress like a place like with people in it currently?
It's a castle. It's an old-fashioned fortress from way back when the Northern Kingdom was still in Dominion.
So yeah, people.
Yes, it's currently part of the Westland Alliance.
Okay, well, I guess that probably means Furia wouldn't be there.
Yeah, very unlikely. Because, like, the tower is right next to the fortress.
So literally, by process of elimination, the dangerous tower on the ice water is the only one left.
Quite
That
possible.
makes sense.
It's
Either I mean, it's really either that or the one up by the
Furious
Felbeck?
Tower.
Felbay.
Oh, Felbay. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's more likely that an Aran would be there. Latopi's not, and Latopi's at Silver Fortress.
I was gonna say, man, that's a hell of a trip.
Oh,
Uh,
all right.
All right, so are we confident that our next location of travel is the Isle of Ice, or also referred to as the Isle of Tor?
Yep.
yeah, and
That's
then
my vote.
we'll hit Cuesta as well.
Cool.
Well, we'll hit Cuesta first.
Absolutely.
Please.
So,
Yes, we need to go back to Cuesta for many, many reasons.
Manetia waves you off as you travel, and she says, "If you need to reconnect with me, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity. The priests do keep up a consistent correspondence, though it'll be written from the abbot here rather than from anybody else. In addition to that, they do also keep some means of arcane communication, but I'm not sure if it's something they can share. It's a pool of water that goes directly up to here." And she points over to the side of the room, and you can see that there's basically a bowl with some very dark water in it. It's a scrying mirror. Essentially, it allows her to talk to them without them being able to see where she is. Because you remember, not even the priest came in here with you. They pointed you to the door and didn't come up. So it's quite possible that none of this priesthood have actually seen her, other than, like, the oldest abbot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, this is, like, the most well-kept secret on the entire continent is the fact that Manetia is still alive.
So, what you're telling me is they're probably not going to hand out some way of, for lack of a better term, radio communication to us under their vow of silence.
Yeah, you would assume that the vow of silence probably prevents them from using things like, I don't know, Ascending Stone.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
Yeah. So yeah, you can write letters and get letters back. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that good enough. It'll
And
happen.
it's not going to be like Skyrim, where a guy comes up halfway up a mountain and the courier runs to you in the middle of a dragon fight. Here, I have something to deliver. Your eyes only. God, I've been playing too much Skyrim recently, and that has absolutely made my day. Every time it happens, I'm in the middle of something, and I just see this motherfucker sprinting across my screen to come give me a random letter. It's great.
Yeah.
Your hands
Your
only.
eyes only.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry. It seems that
All right.
It seems.
So, you guys head down south to Cuesta?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, as you travel southward, you notice a distinct lack of the soldiers that you saw before. They appear to have all left. You guys are going straight to Cuesta, so straight southwest?
Unless we want to stop in Longshore
Or Daggerlod, they're about
or
equidistant.
Daggerlod, either one.
Remember, you're here.
I mean, we could go to Longshore first and take the road to Cuesta. That might be safer.
It's really not going to speed things up all that much, sadly.
Fair enough.
This is
Yeah.
pretty,
Oh, wait,
this
is
is
there-
pretty easy
alright.
terrain.
I have a question. Is our horse and cart still alive?
No.
Damn.
Can we
Well-
get one in the area?
Probably, yeah. How much are you willing to pay for a cart and horse?
Well, what's the going price?
Does it usually cost?
The average that it's going to cost you, I assume you want to buy it and not rent.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
taking it far away from where we're buying it, yeah.
Yeah, the average cost is probably going to run you upward of 25 gold. Probably considering your Chaucer's about 25 gold pieces.
Can we maybe try and barter that down a bit?
That's a used car payment, kids.
How much money do we have? Because I got like 2
I
gold.
only have 17 gold on me.
I have 60.
25 is
Oh,
not out of
shit.
reach.
You want to split it to get the
I don't
card?
have shit. I can tell you that much.
Are
How
we
do you-
able to do 5s apiece or no? Do we not have the money for that?
I don't think
What am I
Senju
doing,
has
10?
no money. So
I'm fucking flat broke, bro.
Oh, 4. There's 4 of us. I'm stupid.
yeah.
Oh.
Looks like
Yeah,
you're taking this one, big dog.
Oh God.
I can throw in a bit.
Shut the
But again, I only have 17
greedy
gold.
ass bitch up.
Bro,
I was
homeless
just
is holding
starting
the
to
most
save
money.
money.
Yeah,
Look,
bro,
hey, I'll throw in
literally
5
fucking
and you get the
homeless,
20.
dude.
Sound good?
I'm holding the diamond that is all of your lives.
All right, that's
well,
fair.
it's any,
so-
well, I should say any given one of your lives.
Roland, can I
Like-
barter you for 10 and 15 or no?
I can swing 10, but I'm gonna say I need some gold back.
Dude,
All
you
right,
got 66
just,
fucking
like, get-
gold.
like,
Just
cover-
pay
I have
for it,
60.
you bitch.
Fine, no, I'll do 5 and 20. It's for the party. Let's go.
Back.
5 and 20.
Like-
Done.
Big greedy.
Brother.
Alright.
good?
I'm
I've been
giving
broke
10.
this entire campaign.
No, Roland, don't worry about it. Just do 5.
You're
I got
covering
20.
the entire thing?
Nope, 20. I need somebody just a little bit.
You're welcome.
I can cover 5.
Then do 5.
Alright, yeah, that's perfect. It gets me down to 12 gold.
Well, you killing the
All right.
person.
And I think Jace will probably
And I
Jace
had
will
to
pay
pay
us
that
some,
time, which
give us some money because we've done some
Yeah.
good shit here. Alright.
Oh, we've done plenty of good.
another diamond, which
So
was
I think we deserve some payment. I will
No, we got it for 80 now.
I'll talk to Jace, see what we can do.
whatever.
We'll probably be able to do something.
Either way,
Seems like he'd
Alrighty,
be
so
over there.
all of this lovely whispering and side conversation aside, are we paying through the nose for a cart and horse?
Yeah, let's just hope it doesn't get farewell
Obliterated.
again.
Farewell. Alright, no killing the horses. Alright, so you all
Neato.
head southward at pace to reach Cuesta. Can I get a perception check and then a survival from somebody? One each, please.
I got the perception.
I'll do survival.
I'll let somebody else do. Oh yeah.
What's your survival? No, it doesn't matter. I'll do survival.
My survival is +4.
I'm doing the perception.
Yeah, you got perception.
Yeah, you got perception.
Oh my goodness!
Brother!
We
You do not
have
have
a
perception.
listener I didn't see in there. Okay,
What, you didn't?
talk,
You realize there was a listener?
No.
Brother, with a +8.
we'll talk to
I got
our
10.
listener later. Talk to our listener later. Bought some ringside seats to this one. 20 for survival and 10 for perception, or is that advantage on perception? What are you willing to offer me in exchange for advantage on perception?
What?
What are you willing to offer me in exchange for advantage on perception?
Piper, don't say the horse.
Offer you? I gotta give my firstborn child or some shit?
Last time you gave me a bottle of booze, what do you offer me?
Dude, I'm not gonna be in Georgia for God knows how long.
You don't have to offer me anything in real life. This can be an in-character offer.
And then character offer.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, how about this? How about this? Here's your in-character offer. You must promise the DM that you will go to the Isle of Tor or the Isle of Ice.
Oh, well, I can do that. Sure, yeah, I'll promise that.
Deal. There's your advantage. What you would notice with your perception, the survival gets you there on time, by the way. You are able to reach Cuesta with some time to spare. It only takes you about 3 days. Not only is Jace waiting for you, but on the way, you notice a remarkable influx in the number of people who are heading south, especially non-humans. Dozens upon dozens of wagon trains and men on horseback and families fleeing the puddles. Fleeing en masse. Hundreds of people you overtake on the road. You see other bird folk like yourself, other Kenku, who are fleeing southward. You see several different groups of people. You see half-orcs. You see a couple of groups of individuals who you're fairly certain are lizard men or some other similar race. They are fleeing southward, running as quickly as they can for the closest Westland Alliance city.
At any point, can we stop? Can I converse to one of these groups of lizard people?
You
Or
absolutely
really-
can. So,
Cool.
as you are on your last day of travel and they're starting to concentrate more on the roads and you're getting slowed down by traffic using your cart, You come across a group of lizardmen angrily arguing over what looks like a dead bull in the road. They're doing that. Pointing
Lizard
and
just
jabbing
lizard
at
arguing.
Yeah, lizards arguing in .mp4.
Hello, you scale friends. What? I notice everyone's leaving the puddles. Why have y'all turned tail?
Great danger! There is great danger there. Violence! Someone has been attacking villages. They burnt the city to the ground.
Are they undead? Or
Serpent men, we heard. We did not see any, but serpent men was the word going around. Snakes.
Can I talk to the other Kenku?
You may. These Kenku are kind of like yourself, but instead of being black, they're like black and blue shiny, so more like a mockingbird than a crow. They are just sitting in a cart, kind of dozing in the morning sun.
And
Ooh. Hello. How are you?
hello. Where are y'all going? What happened to the puddles? Our home.
Traveling south, we are traveling because danger has come upon the puddles. A large number of dangerous people began attacking the settlements. They've been killing people and eating people, and we can't live there anymore. Lizardmen and snakes and all kinds of dangerous things.
isn't?
Like, SN members?
We saw some things, and this person makes a very, very distressed face of like that shit was traumatizing. I couldn't call them lizardmen truly, nor could I call them anything else. It was like some sort of bestial mix between serpent and dragon. I couldn't imagine something like that ending up in Izen's forces. They are very purist, or so I hear.
I know what type of Kenku these are and what type of lizardmen that they're talking about.
They sound kind of like Yanti.
Like, yeah, that sounds like Yonti.
I don't know if you even know what Wanti are.
Yeah, would I know that?
I feel like I would know what a Yanti is.
I don't think Senju would know that, but I think that guys would know that.
You guys can both give me a history. Norbert can as well if you're relaying this information to him.
Sure.
I was gonna ask somebody else, but sure.
Yeah,
Norbert.
You lived in this area.
I'd imagine Norbert is kind of spectating my conversation with them.
Yes.
Sure.
Alright, what do we roll?
Yeah.
That's a
14.
6, a 14, and a 2. Love this party. Y'all are great.
This is me.
You don't have to tell us nothing.
Information so useful, easy to convey, it's all the best. So, with a 13, you've heard of Wanti before. A combination between snake and dragon, that doesn't make any sense. That might be someone misidentifying a dragonborn, or it could be something else. But what you would know is snake people, and the snakes are attacking people. Yeah, that sounds like Wanti. And you know that there are Wanti in the puddles. You just don't know where. They're kind of like an urban legend. Like, yes, there are vampires in Transylvania. No, I don't know where they are. Why would I know where they are? They're fucking dangerous. Why would I go out of my way to learn that information?
Uh-huh. So, I gotta ask, what's the general strength of the garrison at the puddles?
Like, the defensive forces of, like, Longshore would probably be an equivalent, and that's like 5,000 men. And considering how big and spread out the puddles are, that's like a couple of hundred guards in the largest settlements.
So, this isn't just like a small camp of Yonti that's done this. This is like Orc Raid. in.
If there's enough that huge portions of the population, even people not related to the cities, like Kenku and Lizardmen, are fleeing southward, that means the
Yeah.
cities have probably outright fallen.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Things are going badly.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I'd ask these people why, but I don't think I'm going to get anything out of it.
Yeah, you could try.
Yeah, sure. I'll go. Actually, no, just ask the bird.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna ask Piper. Make sure that Piper doesn't have anything else to ask these owl people. Or not
Go
owl
ahead.
people. Mockingbird
Are
people.
these like mockingbird people?
Other Kenku.
To kill a mockingbird.
Different book.
I'm asking someone else to read this passage, please. So,
I'm gonna.
Can you tell me anything about how this came about? Or what when did this start? What prompted this attack?
It started a few days ago. There was a great greenish light in the sky. It came from the middle of the swamp, south of the city, I believe. And, well, after that, and after all of those dangerous dragon people came and left, or so I was told, then came this mass of foemen, these serpents and their followers. Apparently, and I only saw the tail end of it, they attacked the city directly, taking prisoners and slaying everyone else. That light in the sky disappeared after the first night, but it lit up the entire sky for miles, and for hours in the middle of the night.
Okay, thank you, my brothers.
Very welcome, whoever you are.
I'm Sanju.
Very welcome, Senju. I am Credence,
Hi, Cadence.
of Clan Clearwater.
You.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
Cadence of Clan Clearwater.
Clearwater. Alright. So, now that we've discussed with Credence of Clan Clearwater, there is now canonically a banjo in the back of that fucking wagon.
It better be.
Yeah,
it better be.
fucking.
What else would you guys like to ask of these refugees? Before,
Has
before
there-
Sean
has there
tears
been
my
any-
fucking head off.
Has there been any revival that you...
Kill yourself. Down on the corner. No. Any actual
I'm
questions?
on to raise the flag.
Oh,
Oh no.
No. Cease. All right. Any actual questions? We got 15 minutes before the other shot has to go, and then I'm ending session. So.
Yeah.
no, I'm afraid we hurt. So Snake Yanti are attacking the puddles for some reason.
Yes.
Do we know
Do
anything about Yanti religion, I guess, or superstitions?
You can give me a religion check with disadvantage because this is a species that you've never interacted with, nor has anyone else.
Yeah.
Religion with disadvantage. By the way, there's going to be a meeting in the forum. That's what Jace informs you of, basically, as you guys are communicating with him over the sending stone. He tells you, hey, there's going to be a meeting. It's about the military. Warfare is going to happen. I've relayed what you've learned. The soldiers who you guys talked to have relayed what they've learned. They've decided it's a big issue. There's going to be a mobilization. And then I was going to go over the plans that the Alliance comes up with in the short term.
I say these refugees can only tell us so much, and we've got pretty much good enough from them, it seems, because we've asked two different groups and they've essentially told us the same thing. Snake lizards have started attacking the puddles, and they're taking few prisoners and just blooding fucking countryside. So
Yep. Driving everyone to flee southward.
and I guess I can ask the little group of lizard people, like, any idea why is any idea why they've chose now?
I have no idea, man. It just came out of nowhere, absolutely. And, you know, there are other lizard men with them. And
Well, those guys, not all of us are very trustworthy. Some of them are very dangerous.
Agreed.
But still, scumbags to go around just killing everyone,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you fighting about over the bull?
Who gets to eat it?
How many lizard men are there?
Like 6. 6.
I gestured towards the greatsword. I could split it.
He looks down at the ox, which is already kind of like getting ripe in the sun, and he goes, "Go ahead."
Alright, cool. Need me to do a roll? Need me to do any roll to try and split it down the middle?
You split it right down the middle, like an ancient biblical tale of children ownership, and you cut the ox in half.
This is in Psalms somewhere.
Yeah, it's fucking King. I think it is David or Saul, one of the two. But yeah, chop a baby in half to see which one is real mother.
Damn.
Yeah, it's the idea
that
of
was that's actually in the Bible somewhere.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because the idea is like the one who says, I will have any solution, even give over the child to another person who isn't their mother, if it means saving their life. And the other one is like, yeah, cut him in half, fuck you, I don't want this woman to get any satisfaction. And then he awards it to the one who's concerned about the child, because that's clearly his fucking mom.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sacrifice my happiness for my child versus I'm willing to sacrifice this child to win a fucking pissing contest, essentially. So, as you guys head in, and I'll do a real TLDR of the forum's war council, and then you guys can influence it next session if you guys want to get up and speak, that's fine. Here's the info that you get. The forum, with all 300 senators, is called. It's incredibly packed. The forum is full to the gills. The forces each, once again, reaffirm that they are happy to devote their forces to the Western Alliance, that this war against this Lich is going to be a long and violent one. They essentially declare their war, and then they give out the information on how many troops and soldiers they have, and then where they're sending them, etc. Longshore designates about 5,000 troops. 50,000 are brought in from Daggerlad, Foray Port, and Sildra Fortress, with another 50,000 of Cuesta's troops as the more elite side. So the total number of foot troops stands at around 105,000 total, with about 50,000 of those being more elite soldiers. Essentially, the difference is that they have breastplates, great weapons, and they're a little more trained. And each of these cities also donate a very small cavalry detachment, mostly of the nobility, etc. Representatives from foreign lands basically all have bad news. Izin's army group that they sent into the Dimlands to try and get back their very important person is just missing. It's completely gone. Not a single survivor has been found.
Okay.
Everybody's dead. The entire group of like hundreds of green dragonborn half-dragons and apparently possibly a full-grown dragon, totally gone.
Oh, holy shit.
Quote-unquote army group green, because it was led by a green dragonborn and made up of green dragon people, missing completely. Cliffport,
holy fuck.
The explosion has damaged a huge portion of Cliffport's economy. They don't have enough men to hold the bridges to the north of them with Izin, so they're completely out of troops, essentially. They have no ability to support or defend themselves, and they're afraid of whatever knocked out the Dragonborn group and this undead threat. So they're essentially just desperately begging for soldiers. Puddles, they report a complete invasion by an unknown force of serpentine creatures. Snakes of some kind, and then creatures that they can't positively identify as either snakes or dragonborn. They have no idea. And this invasion is already underway. In addition to that, the Izin representative describes that most of the territory north of the city itself, including their little outpost area, has fallen to a group of the undead, and that a group of the undead have been observed traveling westward towards Sildra Fortress. They haven't made it there yet, but they're traveling that direction.
Okay, got it.
In addition, the collective navy for the Forum and for Will Western Alliance is 110 cannon-armed carracks and 190 other war vessels. So they total about 300 total naval vessels, minus whatever Izin basically has, which is, again, not much, because they don't focus on their navy, because they have fucking dragons. All right.
Yeah.
Any questions about that? The troops have been split up as follows. Each of the cities, specifically Longshore and Daggerlad, because they're closest to the enemy, have been given a detachment of weaker soldiers, whereas the more elite forces have been split up between Cuesta, Foray Port, and Sildra Fortress, and the navy has been split up between defending Cliffport and defending Daggerlad.
All right, sounds about right. Okay.
That's
Alright.
a tough one.
Any questions before we end the session?
Oh wow, that's the end of the session. Fuck
I just-
Yeah, that
I'm
is
just
the end of
happy-
the session. I know, it's only been like an hour and a half.
I'm gonna.
fuck
I
my
can
box
finally get.
for you.
Damn it.
What? Oh yeah, no, that's
Fine.
your loving embrace is gonna have to wait for later. If you want to check real quick, you can tell she is still alive. She has not died. Nobody in Cuesta seems to have been negatively affected by the activation of the collapse.
She's doing all right. Okay.
To
cool.
give you a visual reference for how far the collapse went, it basically went out this far.
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
we good. We good.
Collapse too.
Anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
she's
we
over.
run in, give her a kiss, be like, yeah, I got some business to do. I'll be back.
I'm gonna say you
Alright.
don't even. I'm gonna say you don't even do that. You just make sure that she's alive, and then we'll talk about that next session. All right?
Aw, damn. All right.
Yes,
all
I'm fine with you running in and giving her a kiss. That's fine. We'll go
Yeah,
into
good.
more detail later. Essentially, you kiss and run. I'm cool with that. All right. No last minute questions. Everyone say goodbye to the fans.
Bye-bye.
Bye, fans.
Bye, fans. Thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. New Bella
Thanks
Nor
for
arc
watching.
goes hella hard. We have a whole bunch of credits for this one for sessions 11 through XXX. Greg Rutowski, Casion, Rosalind YW, Phil Art, Jose Alfonso, Jordan Kerbau, Ellis Drake, Blair Martin, Cesara Macari, Joseph Kovacs, and Kuma King. Whew. It's quite a few people. A lot of artwork in this one. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So, with that all said and done, I hope that you all enjoyed this wonderful little short episode. I'm hopefully going to make it a little bit shorter. And I wish you all a lovely good night.